The defense team finished up their close, and at the very end, attorney Mark Agnifilo asked the jury to acquit Sean Diddy Combs of all of the charges and to send him home.
I said that. Excuse me. I've been said that. I said that a long time ago. Wow, look. Nobody came to help Diddy, boy. Nobody came to speak up for Diddy. He's coming home.
To his family. And with that, you know, there are listening rooms because the main courtroom is packed. That's where I was this morning. And then there are these overflow rooms. There are multiple overflow rooms packed full of people from the public, from the media, so many people converging on New York City because of this trial. And in one of the rooms, I can confirm to you that when Mark Agnifilo finished, the room erupted in cheers. Everyone in the room started cheering loudly, clapping when his closing argument was finished. Mark Agnifilo giving that close on behalf of Diddy's legal team. Numerous lawyers taking part in this process for him. And from what we understand, Diddy was quite pleased with that closing argument. Now we're in the government's rebuttal. So that is currently taking place in the courthouse behind me. Diddy's trial happening at the very top floor of this building. We're in the Southern District of New York, and they actually have two federal courthouses, Michael and Ashley. This is one of them, the larger one. It is beautiful inside, and it is very hard to get a seat in that courtroom. But I will tell you, when I was in there this morning, Diddy looked to be in very good spirits. I saw him looking back at his children right before court started, giving them a big smile. And then during the break, when everybody was in the morning recess, people were milling about the courtroom and talking. The judge was off the bench, and I saw one of his twin daughters hand a piece of paper to attorney Tenny Garagos, Mark Garagos' daughter, who's one of the attorneys on the Diddy team. And she then handed that paper to Diddy, and he read whatever was on it, and then he turned back around, looked at his daughter, smiled really big, and did a little bit of a fist pump, like to indicate, yeah, whatever it was, he seemed to be very happy about it. His mom looked to be in good spirits. I saw her leaving the courtroom during the break. I said hello to her. She said hello back. They all seem to be really leaning on each other, relying on each other for support, as his freedom, Michael and Ashley, is on the line. If he's convicted of that sex trafficking charge, it could be 15 years mandatory minimum. And there are two of them, one pertaining to Cassie, as you know, and one pertaining to Jane. And if he's convicted of the racketeering, could potentially be life.
Julie, I got to say, tell me if I'm wrong.
Racketeering. Man, Diddy ain't doing no racketeering, man.
I want to get your opinion on this. It seems to me the overriding theme of this closing argument by the defense was
and trafficking, sex trafficking, ain't doing man.
It's essentially that this was an overreach by the prosecution, that this was about the government going into somebody's bedroom, someone like Sean Diddy Combs. And although it's admittedly a bit of a bizarre sex life, it is his personal life. It didn't extend beyond that.
It's his personal life, and everybody, even them, all of them, everybody know they got their own preference and personal,
Would you say that's a fair sort of assessment of the way they sort of characterized this approach to the prosecution?
Yes, Michael, you're exactly right. And I have to tell you both, Mark Agnifilo did a brilliant job connecting with the jury on that point. He is very engaging. His close was much different than the government's. The government, I have to say, while they were very thorough, very polished, very matter of fact, it was a little stiff. He talks to the jury just like he would be talking to someone at the breakfast table, maybe someone in his family. He cracks little jokes, and one of them actually pertained to this point you just raised, Michael. So he was saying how the federal government essentially invaded Sean Combs' private life and turned his bedroom life into a crime scene. And he joked, and I have to tell you, I saw three jurors crack up when he said, thank goodness the federal government got all of that Astroglide off the streets. They went in and they seized all those bottles of Astroglide and baby oil. Thank goodness we are safe from all of that personal lubricant. And three jurors, I saw all three of them, two women, younger black women, and then one, I would say, middle-aged white man. All three of them cracked up and had big smiles on their face with that joke. And that was just one of the examples where we saw Mark Agnifilo really connecting with them.
Yeah, because that's nuts, man. They need to be doing other stuff, man. Look at this. They act like that's bricks or something. They act like they got a whole truck of bricks. That's crazy.
And making this seem kind of ridiculous that the federal government would try to criminalize these desires to have sex involving multiple partners at hotels using baby oil or whatever else they want to use.
I'm telling you, and the same people, the federal government, the same people in those branches and whoever, doing the same thing. And they charge him for it. And they do it behind closed doors. Use baby oil.
He described it as Diddy being not the only one making homemade porn, so to speak, that this was just his lifestyle. It was a valid
Exactly. That's all it is.
lifestyle, Michael and Ashley, is what the defense team argued very strongly this morning.
And if you would, Julie, remind us too how he balanced that with admitting some of the things that Diddy has done that aren't.
Everybody got paid, just like in porn. Same thing.
Okay, by using the video, for instance, and the domestic violence piece.
Sure, Judge. Thank you for that. Yes, he acknowledged that Diddy committed terrible acts of domestic violence. And he went so far as to say if he were charged with those crimes, that he would be pleading guilty to them because he did them. And he said from the start of this trial, we've owned that.
And everybody been in those type of situations. You know, everybody not been in those type of situations, but experienced it or know someone who have experienced those type of situations. So
That. He did something that surprised me. I have to say, I thought he may kind of stay away from this hotel beating video, maybe just acknowledge it. He actually showed portions of it, Ashley and Michael, but not this portion right here that we're looking at. What he showed everyone was a cell phone in Cassie's hand when she initially left that hotel room. And you have to look really closely. I want you to pay attention to that mirror on the wall. It's going to be coming up on her right, our left, and you'll see the reflection of it. See it there? It looks like it has a white case. Hard to see. And look at Diddy's hands. Nothing in his hands as he goes to Cassie. So Mark Agnifilo used this to say, hey, this was terrible, this was illegal, this was wrong and inexcusable. But it was not about bringing her back to the room to traffic her. Look at his hand now. He's got the phone. He said this was about retrieving that cell phone that she took when she shouldn't have. That's what he said. He said the phone he believes belonged to Diddy, and he believes that was the reason he got so enraged and went after her, and we saw that terrible attack. So that was quite an illuminating portion.
she did. Wow, people didn't pay no attention to that. Nobody paid attention to that. When they first saw the video first came out, no one pointed that out. He didn't have none in his hand. He went to get his phone. Wow.
Of the argument, I would say, because we've looked at that video, I don't know how many dozens and dozens of times. And with her sweatshirt sleeve, unless you're looking at that mirror, it's really.
She probably was on his phone and got salty and saw some other chick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, knowing he got other chicks, but a chick that she know. She probably saw a chick that she know. Or somebody like that, one of her friends or something. I'm telling you. That's the only way, man.
Really hard to see what she had in her hand or even to notice how he retrieved something. So perhaps that argument will be effective, perhaps not, in terms of.
Because you know, she ain't tripping. She know what he do and know how he rock. That's her man, but she'd be salty if it's one of her friends type. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you.
Whether the jury considers it sex trafficking.
Julie, one final thing I wanted to ask, it kind of jumped out at me. during the closing argument by the defense. And that was a point where Margaret Niffolo said basically the winner in all this, because she got the $20 million, he talks about it, the real winner of all this is Cassie Ventura. And I kind of took a quick back, I was taken aback by that because of all that went on, looking to get money, we do know some horrible things did in fact happen to her. He even copped to it, said, look, we admit to the domestic violence and the violence in the relationship, yet he called her the one winner. I wonder if you had any notice as how did the jurors react to that? I thought that might have been a misstep.
Michael, I'm so glad you brought that up. That was quite a moment.
She definitely was the one winner. She got the bag and everything. Nobody else got a bag. She got a bag. I'm not that sure, but everybody knows she got that money. She's got the lawsuit settled. She came up. She came up.
I've got a little more for you both.
She back in the media. I mean, all publicity is good publicity. So after this settle, watch. She gonna be in the popping around. They're gonna be watch. She's gonna be doing some interviews or doing some new stuff, you know what I'm saying? Taking advantage of this press.
Wait for this. So when he brought that up, he started with saying that this was not a quest for justice for Cassie, that this was a quest about money. And we all know about the $30 million lawsuit that she filed, which was the catalyst for this case. And Agnifilo argued that had it not been for that lawsuit, then we wouldn't have this federal case here and now. And when he noted that Cassie is the winner in all this, he said that Diddy is the loser because he's the one who wound up in jail. And Ashley and Michael, I was a little bit stunned at that because, as you both know, the government cannot mention that he's incarcerated. The judge cannot mention that. We usually don't see defense attorneys mentioning that, but here he did. He took a moment, he gestured toward his client, he said to the jury, do you see that handsome man sitting behind Mr. Combs? That man is a U.S. Marshal. And he said that man is one of the agents who's tasked with taking him to and from his jail cell every day. When Cassie won, and she's somewhere around the world right now with $30 million, Sean Combs is locked up behind bars. And so that was quite a moment for two reasons. The jury learned that Diddy's incarcerated. They had no idea. Now he sits in the courtroom every day in his sweaters, looking very nice. They never see him brought in or handcuffed. And then two, as you both know, we never heard.
Wow, the jury, with all this press, you mean to tell me the jury don't know that he's in jail? I don't believe that one. Like, where do these jurors come from? Underground? Like, how they don't know he's been in jail? That don't add up. I guess. I don't know.
Heard what the settlement amount was. Seems to me that Mark Agnifilo might have let the cat out of the bag because we know she asked for $30 million, but it was settled for an undisclosed amount. But today he said that she is somewhere around the world $30 million richer.
Wow. Leave y'all thoughts in the comments. What y'all think? Y'all think Diddy coming home? Y'all think Diddy coming home? Is he gonna get charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, or is he coming home? What is going to happen to Diddy? You dig? Leave y'all thoughts in the comments. Yeah.